Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. In 1945, on the heels of the most destructive conflict the world had ever seen, facing an uncertain future characterized by the threat of nuclear annihilation, the United Nations was established by the man and woman of strategic vision. At San Francisco, my country proudly sat amongst the founders. Our courageous political ancestors created this organization in the belief that international law, based on the doctrine of sovereign equality of states, must supplant the use of force to settle differences between nations. This core abiding conviction of the founders must be repeatedly reconfirmed. Their sense of purpose must be reaffirmed, and the exercise of the obligation they handed down to us must continue to be carried out with a solemn sense of responsibility by all. However, much the world has changed since 1945. The United Nations remain the only universal intergovernmental institution that unites us as a global community of sovereign states. And at the very heart of this indispensable organization stands the General Assembly, the ultimate bestower of legitimacy on the international system. The unique World Forum that is the General Assembly brings us together as a sovereign equals, each acting on behalf of a country with one vote as guaranteed by the UN Charter. The sacrosanct character of the foundational doctrine of sovereign equality and its accompanying binding obligation to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity constitutes the very nature of the enduring legitimacy of the United Nations. This has not changed, and I believe it must not change, unless we seek to overthrow the Charter and overturn the global legal order upon which it is built. Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you as the President of a country that has become caught at the heart of one of the most dangerous challenges to the nature of the international system since the founding of the United Nations. I speak of the unilateral, illegal and illegitimate declaration of independence by the ethnic Albanian authorities of our southern province of Kosovo and Metohija, a territory that, for the Serbian people, stands as a crucible of our identity. It is the essential link between our proud national past and our proud European future. It is what ties the living tradition of Serbia to itself today. The attempt of secession took place on February 17, 2008, in direct violation of the United Nations Charter, the Helsinki Final Act, and Security Council Resolution 1244 from 1999. Kosovo's ethnic Albanian leaders chose to take this unilateral step after walking away from the negotiating table. They believed that if they walked away, the path to securing independence would open up before them. They believed it because that's what they were told, and they believed it because an artificial deadline on the talks was affirmed from the outside, after which, if no compromise solution was reached, Kosovo's independence would be imposed. Under such circumstances, a negotiated solution was never a realistic option. With a fixed deadline and a default position for fulfilled their maximalist demands, what incentive did Kosovo's ethnic Albania have to negotiate with Serbia is a good faith? All they had to do was to pretend to engage in a process predetermined to fail and wait out the clock. The incentives for compromise were far outweighed by the incentives for maximalism. The result was the rejection of Serbia's reasonable offer of almost unrestricted self-government, the broadest possible autonomy one can imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, Kosovo's unilateral declaration of independence, or UDI, amounts to an attempt of partitioning a member state of the United Nations against its will, and with disregard for the firm opposition of the Security Council, in order to appease a volatile and threatening ethnic minority. As a result, the very nature of the international system has been called into question. We all know that there are dozens of Kosovos throughout the world, just waiting for secession to be legitimized, to be rendered an acceptable norm. Many existing conflicts could escalate, frozen conflicts could reignite, and new ones could be instigated. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the argument that Kosovo is a sui generis, that is a unique case. But the truth is, this comes down to saying that Kosovo is an exception to international law, that Kosovo should stand beyond the rules that govern the behavior of the international community. The Republic of Serbia rejects this claim, believing that no one should permit himself the right to declare such exemptions, especially in defiance of the Security Council position. We face a defining moment. We must stand together in steadfastness and determination against the fundamental violation of international law. Ladies and gentlemen, Serbia responded to Kosovo's UDI with the utmost responsibility and restraint. Despite political turmoil, our country continued to work hard to contribute to maintaining regional stability. From the very onset of this grave crisis, Serbia has ruled out the use of force, and we have not exercised other unilateral options such as the imposition of economic sanctions against our breakaway province.